save money if you don't have a lot of money coming in. But one of the things that I found really helpful when I started saving was to create a budget. So to really look at how much was coming in every week or every month, what were my outgoings, and then what could I save after my outgoings had been taken out. And sometimes it would be £5, sometimes it'd be £7, sometimes it'd be £10. Yes, even if it's £1, £2, £3, £7, if you just save as little as you can or as much as you can, that will add up and you will start to see your savings increase.
I think when I get my payslip, I like to split everything into pots. So from my rent to my utilities to my Spotify to any kind of bill, just so I can see exactly how much I've got left over to spend or to save.
So a fund is where lots of different people pool their money together and ask a professional investor to invest it for them. And a fund will be invested in lots of different stocks and shares. And normally what a stocks and shares mean is when you just buy one company. So you buy a share in one company. So Investec, you can go and buy a share of Investec PLC. The difference with a fund is that you might group together with lots of other people, and then the fund may have lots of money that goes and buys Investec, but also buys Barclays if it's banks, or buys a number of different companies to allow you as an individual to get exposure to maybe 40, 50 or 100 different companies rather than just one company. So it's a way that investors have come up with to be cost effective when they're investing. So you don't have to pay all the charges of just buying one share. You can just buy one fund, an underlying that has the shares. But it's also a way to split your risk between a number of different companies when you're starting out. You can start investing with very small amounts. You could start investing with £100, £1, £1,000. So there are different methods you could use to start investing, and there's a website and there's an article by the money saving expert Martin Lewis, which has a table which can show you lots of different providers, some of which you do it yourself and some of which is called robo-advice, which have relatively low fees, so 0.25%, and relatively small upfront minimums. So some of them are £1, some of them are a couple of £100. The thing I would think about when you're starting to invest is how long can you afford to be invested for, and how much when you start to invest really is a question of how much savings do you have that you can use in an emergency, and don't invest those savings. So think about it in terms of, have you got a few months rent that you can have in your back pocket in case something awful happens or an emergency happens and you need to spend some money? You don't really want to be investing that money. So once you've got a buffer, then I think anything over and above that is the amount you can start thinking about investing. Or if you think about it in a different way, if you've got a salary coming in and you know that you need most of it to pay your rent, and then a bit to buy food, and then a bit to have fun on the weekends, and you've got a little bit, 20, 30, 40 pounds a month that you think, I actually genuinely don't need that money, then maybe that's the amount each month you can start to invest. And to go back to the previous question, how would I do that? Well, I'd probably start thinking about doing it through a fund.
I think for me, the biggest shock was the way that all the bills seemed to come in together. So until I was living on my own, I didn't quite realise that there seems to be a bit of a cycle where everything comes in one go. And it's really working out how to budget that and to prepare for anything that's unforeseen. So one other thing I found was that things always seem to break all at once. So you think you're up straight, and then suddenly something will come along that you need to then end up repairing, and that can then interfere with your cash flow a little bit. So I think that was the biggest thing for me, is sort of managing that and making sure I try to, as wherever possible, have a little bit left aside to be able to deal with those shocks.
Doing your research is really important. So for those of you who are like me and had no one in the finance industry to tell you what to do or what to look for, it's going to be really important. It's important to know that finance is a very broad industry, so there are so many roles that make up one company. So you don't have to be a maths genius or really good with numbers. You can be like me and have people skills, IT skills, marketing skills, project management skills. So I would encourage you to go online and look at the jobs that are being advertised. What kind of job roles are out there? What skills do they need, and what kind of person are they looking for? It doesn't need to be boring. You can go on YouTube, you can go on TikTok and see what these roles look like and what you might be interested in. I'll also say to use your age to your advantage. You know, just because you're young, people will be so willing to teach you new things. So look for what's out there and don't be afraid to ask for learning opportunities. Look for apprenticeships, work experience, internships, traineeships, and the learning will come after you get into the role.
I think if I had to answer that in one word, I would say no. I think it is helpful in certain roles. I think it's certainly helpful in perhaps 20-25% of roles in financial services organisations. I think that being strong at maths, or at least being comfortable and numerate, is an advantage. And in some parts of organisations, it's a prerequisite. There may be 5 or 10% of roles that are very, very mathematically specific, but they will always be the preserve of the people for whom maths is a passion and who happen to be really strong in it.
So Stocks in Shares ISA is a product that can be used to invest in stocks and shares, as the name would suggest, and it's completely tax-free. You can get them either online, you can go into a bank, or you can do it on your smartphone or on your laptop.
Best tip would be around managing your bills and knowing when they're coming out every month. So my advice would be to have 2 bank accounts. So when you get your money coming in, it comes into one bank account, and know what's coming out at the end of the month. Put a little total of it and then move that money out the day after your money comes in. And that means that when you have bills coming out at different times of the month, you're not sitting there worrying about whether the money's there or whether it's not. You just know it's already sitting in that bank account with the direct debit ready for it to go. And that's how I manage my money every month. We get paid on the 25th of the month, and I have a bill that comes out on the 16th, and it just means I don't have to worry about it. It's already there.